President Biden securing our border. Now, obviously, the reason why they're doing this, for the record, is because, well, one, because they're dumb racist. Okay, so let's just get that out of the way real quick. We are a nation led by dumb, old, out of touch, reactionary white men. And of course, as is the case, the Democratic Party is doing the absolute worst thing that they could possibly do and lean into their worst possible instincts. As always, as expected, Democratic Party had better chances on immigration and a better way to captivate like a young Latino voter base in places like Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona, places that allowed them to win, mind you. And they decided, you know what? This election is going to be built around the suburbs. It's going to be built around the mother freaking suburbs, baby. And guess what? That's what we care about. We don't care about anybody else. We are going to do the most right-wing thing we possibly could do. And after only 4 years ago, running on the exact opposite policies that he is now implementing and celebrating, we're just going to say, F it, YOLO, let's do it.
What the Republicans in Congress refuse to do. Take the necessary steps to secure our border. 4 months ago, after weeks of intense negotiation between my staff and Democrats and Republicans, we came to a clear bipartisan deal. It was the strongest border security agreement in decades. But then, Republicans in Congress, not all, but walked away from it. Why? Because Donald Trump told them to. Today, I'm joined by a bipartisan group of governors, members of Congress, mayors, law enforcement officials, most of whom live and work along the southern border. They know the border is not a political issue to be weaponized.
Dog, are we pro-Trump now? What? Pro-Trump? Why would we be pro-Trump? If I was pro-Trump, I'd be elated at the fact that his enemy right now, his political enemy who he's running against, has basically given him the greatest gift of all, which is legitimacy to the lies that he has spread for years alongside the Republican Party for decades about how immigrants are a national security problem. If I was pro-Trump, I'd be like, hell yeah, look at this old he's right. Joe Brandon, it's such a big problem. Even these commie, godless, pedophile, vampire monsters recognize how much of a rapist immigrants are, and that's why they're doing this asylum seeker bill. And that's precisely why I'm gonna keep voting for Donald Trump. He's been right all along. That's it.
But Republicans have left me no choice. Today, I'm announcing actions to bar migrants who cross our southern border unlawfully from receiving asylum. Migrants will be restricted from receiving asylum at our southern border unless they seek it after entering through an established lawful process. And those who seek to come to the United States legally, for example, by making an appointment and coming to a port of entry, asylum will still be available to them, still available. But if an individual chooses not to use our legal pathways, if they choose to come without permission and against the law, they'll be restricted from receiving asylum and staying in the United States. This action will help us gain control of our border, restore order into the process.
Bro, this is like, I hate this man so much more than I ever thought I would 1 year ago. Yeah. I love that this is like Brandon literally looking at the situation and going, honestly, Jack, let me tell you, are we going to be bold? Are we going to be brave? Are we going to lead by example? No, we are going to do all of the worst things the Democratic Party has done so consistently throughout the years in an election that should not even be remotely close, just like in 2016. An election that should not be close at all is now going to turn into an election that, you know, the Republican Party might actually win. I don't understand. I thought the migrants who come to the border illegally are at risk of being taken advantage of as slaves. Yes, there's a two-tier labor process in this country. The only way to solve that labor process, the only way to solve that structure is by legalizing the undocumented migrants. The entire criminalization of like voluntary travel into the borders of the United States was designed specifically so that there is a two-tier labor system in this country with a hyper exploitable group of individuals. Everything that I just talked about, however, is not something that is a national security issue. It is, and you might recognize this immediately, it's an economic issue. That's it. We destroy the global South. We cause political instability. instability, we cause chaos in an effort to extract their natural resources and oftentimes their labor as well. Then, in that chaos and instability, people obviously are escaping that chaos and instability, and they want to come into the United States of America looking for a better life, a better future for themselves, and security and safety for their children. Then, when they come into America, we go, oh, thank God. What a perfect opportunity. Come in. Come right in. You are illegal now. And what that means is you have to work for the wages, the worst conditions possible. Yeah, we will not give you this piece of paper that says you can just do this legally, which would give you a set of protections, albeit meager protections, but protections nonetheless, so that we can even further exploit you. Then we can also use this never-ending pool of migrants coming in to work because they're in desperate conditions as a way to depress wages for the documented working class. For the documented labor force, we will say, hey, you don't have to do this stuff. We have slaves already for it, okay? Near slave wages. Beautiful. We bake it into our profit margins. The entirety of the American agricultural output is reliant on undocumented labor. The Biden 24 campaign might genuinely be worse than Hillary 2016. All signs point to 18 to 35 vote deciding the election, and currently Trump is more popular in the candidate age range, not because there are more Republicans in that age group, but because so many people in the age group fucking hate Brandon, but Brandon wants to push on with policies that are strongly abhorred by the age group genius. It's because the 18 to 35 age demographic does not go out and vote. It's a minor percentage of people that go out and vote. And instead of trying to captivate them, trying to actually get them to vote for the first time, even in many instances, or vote at all, well, that takes a lot of time and effort, and it changes your basic policy calculus too. The Brandon camp is looking at likely voters, people who have voted, people who love voting, people who come when they think about voting. Age demographics where people are voting by much higher percentages than the 18 to 35 demographic. Those guys are reactionary. Those guys are right-wing. Those guys are really worried about immigration. Now, part of the problem in this conversation is that there's no alternative. There's no media machine pushing in the same way that like the right-wing propaganda outlets regularly pump out anti-immigrant sentiment. Local news is also pretty right-wing. Shouts out to Sinclair Broadcasting. It's all a monopoly now. And they're also running the whole like immigrant crime panic narrative on a regular basis for two different reasons. One, because if it bleeds, it leads, and everybody knows that. And two, this kind of right-wing sentiment is great. Gets people to watch. Fear sells. So people inevitably start developing these incredibly right-wing attitudes towards immigration. But one thing that you guys need to understand is that Americans are very stupid. Many people are very stupid. Americans are also very stupid. I'm an American. I'm stupid as well, just so you understand. But the one thing that if you consistently look at Americans, the one consistent thing that all American voters will always tell you is that they are inconsistent. What do I mean by this? The median voter in the United States of America simultaneously will want to deport all immigrants from this country violently, while also will tell you in the same breath that they actually think all immigrants that are here deserve amnesty. You think I'm lying? You think I must be joking? Look at the polls. You will see violent deportations become increasingly more popular in the same exact demographics, in the same exact groups, oftentimes in the same exact mind that believes in amnesty for 11 million undocumented migrants currently living on U.S. soil. How crazy is that? How unimaginably crazy is that? It's not crazy. It's America, baby. And therefore, I always look at a situation like this. I always look at the cognitive dissonance demonstrated by American voters. And I think to myself, why don't you use this to your advantage? It's obviously, both of these two opinions are in people's minds. Why the are you going in the easy route? Why are you going along with what you perceive as the easier method, which is leaning on the polls? They see the polls, they panic, and they go, oh, well, we got to do the same thing we've always done. Go more right wing. Very, very, very stupid stuff. Very stupid stuff. And when the Democratic Party does not present a strong counter to the Republican Party or even put forward legislation that the Republicans must react to and keep their attention on, then all of a sudden the Republicans lead the conversation. And that is how you arrive at the ratchet effect. That is how you arrive at Brandon literally going in a 4-year timeline, in a 4-year span. Brandon goes from being like, no person is criminal. No one is illegal, Jack. I'm going to be doing amnesty in the first 100 days of my election, all the way to we should kill migrants ourselves. I'm Brandon. I'm the migrant destroyer. Here it is. A few months ago, I shared a study from Oxford showing that when liberals adopt the policies or polities and narratives of the right wingers, they lose support and push their countries towards the fascists. Biden and many Democrats, in so many ways each day, are walking us off the cliff, something that I've been warning about for quite some time. As a matter of fact, you guys know this. I've been talking about this literally for years. It is one of the classic HasanAbi staples on this broadcast is if you capitulate to the right, all you've done is basically galvanize them. They are not coming at this issue from a point of real facts. They're not looking at this analytically. They're not looking at this critically. They're not looking at the facts of the matter. They are hysterical. They are crazy. They are oftentimes racist. So when you look at the racist hysteria, the racist panic that they're cultivating, and you don't go, hey, that's actually racist hysteria. Fuck off with that bullshit. Here are the facts. And instead go, sorry, the racist hysteria is far too popular, so we're going to have to go with that instead of launching a counter. You end up capitulating to the right and you end up saying they are right. They're correct. This happens all the time. This happened with the defund the police momentum. This happened with the crime panic. And it's stupid because that is bad politics and it's bad policy. You lose seats when you do that. You lose popularity when you do that because people go, okay, well, you admit that immigrants are rapists too. Why the f would I vote for you? I'm going to vote for the guy who said immigrants are rapists for the past 8 years. Do you understand? You can never outflank the right on racism. They own it. You can never outflank the right on patriotism. They own it. Patriotism in the way that Americans understand it is very different than like patriotism in the way that you might understand it, but it doesn't matter because they don't care. They don't care. They don't care. And you're a fucking idiot for turning around and going, yeah, you know what? Although there is no factual accuracy or real basis for the way that Republicans have created and cultivated this white nativist anti-immigrant sentiment in this country, saying that immigration is a national security problem and not an economic problem that must be solved by legalizing immigration and offering pathways to citizenship, but instead by consistently creating a panicked narrative built around white supremacist attitudes, even though there is no real factual basis for having these opinions. As a matter of fact, the facts show the exact opposite of what we are presenting. Maybe the Republicans are right because, sorry, they're far too popular now. This narrative is far too popular. It is ridiculous. Why are they doing this? And let me tell you why they're doing it. I'll tell you why. One, because this is, they have miscalculated and think that this is like far too popular of an agenda. Okay. This is far too popular. The people are like, we're terrified of immigration. No one is asking why people are terrified of immigration. Everyone's simply saying we're terrified of immigration. No one is asking the question, how do we like deal with this? How do we educate the people that like their fears are born out of racist panic that they've been whipped into a frenzy by Fox News and all these other outlets? Number one, they are miscalculating and think that like a lot of people think that like someone's got to do something about immigration. Oh my God, that's what the polls show. That's what the polls show. That's what the polls show. And the other reason why they're doing it is, and perhaps this is even stupider than the first reason, they're doing this to show hypocrisy. They're doing this to be like, see, the Republicans don't care about killing migrants. I do. You're a Democrat. The f do you mean? You are a f***ing idiot for this. You are dumb as f for this. Because if you say, guess what, Jack, immigrants are rapists, he's going to tomorrow turn around and be like, immigrants are actually no longer rapists. They're even more evil than being rapists. Okay, they're super rapists. They're getting shot with like rape serum before they come into the country. He will always find a way to be more racist than you. And he has already. He literally has. Brandon is over here being like, yeah, that's right. We're cutting off asylum seekers. What is Trump doing? We are going to deport 11 million migrants living in this country. We are going to deport 11 million people that have been living in this country for 10 years or even longer. That's insane. Look what you did.
Remain in place until the number of people trying to enter illegally is reduced to a level that our system can effectively manage. We'll carry out this order consistent with all our responsibilities under international law, every one of them. In addition to this action, we recently made important reforms in our asylum system, more efficient and more secure reforms. The goal is to deliver decisions on asylum as quickly as possible. The quicker decision means that a migrant...
Bro, are you ready for this? Let me cut a ad for you right now. Republican Party. Biden in 2020 ran against our big, beautiful, bold president, Donald Trump, and he wanted to open our borders. Biden himself said this election is about who we are and who we want to be. I believe we are a nation that welcomes those fleeing persecution and seeking asylum, not a nation that turns our back on them. So what changed? After 4 years of migrant rapes and migrant crimes that have killed your daughter, that have killed your sons, that have stolen your jobs, while also simultaneously putting a strain on our welfare state that Democrats keep giving money to them instead of our homeless veterans, Biden has realized that Donald Trump was right, that immigration is a problem, but it's far too late. Don't make the mistake come November. This ad was paid for by Super Predators for America PAC. Okay, boom, there you go. All it is, you got to point to like all of his previous promises in the last campaign around and go, that's what he did. That's what he did. That's all he did. He ruined the country. He ruined the country. He opened the borders. He opened the goddamn borders. Now he wants to close it, but it's too late. Question, what do you think Biden should have done instead? For the past 4 years, Biden should have actually tried to tackle this in the positive direction. Offer federal funds to Texas. Showcase that Governor Greg Abbott refuses to take federal funds that will help beef up the processing aspect of immigrants. And then prosecute Greg Abbott for when he literally kidnapped and trafficked thousands, almost 100,000 migrants at the border and shipped them off to New York and Chicago. That's what I would do. I would literally throw Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis in jail. That's what I would do. I would prosecute them. I would destroy them. I would tie them up in federal court permanently for doing openly illegal shit. Are you kidding me? Anyone that played a role in this scheme that was specifically designed to disrupt the normal processes for migrant process or the normal legal system that currently exists for these asylum seekers, which is valid and legal, which 99% attend their court dates, by the way. Anyone that tries to disrupt that is disrupting America's duty, America's moral duty, America's duty as a nation state that abides by international humanitarian law. You're ridiculous. On top of that, you're literally shipping migrants as a political ploy. You're misguiding them. So yeah, I would 100% prosecute you, throw your in jail, okay? That's what I would do. And then after that, I go, hey, listen, we need a new governor that is going to cooperate with the rule of the law. What do you do in that situation? You then say, look, we're going to give you guys extra federal funds to make sure that in this time of need, when there's more migrants that coming in than ever before, we will swiftly put them through the legal system and allow them to go and work as documented laborers in the labor force. My mom keeps saying Biden's choices are reasonable because can we actually handle that number of people? Can you tell me what argument against this? Yes, there is no number of like migrants that America can't handle. Okay, that's insane. We are the wealthiest nation on the planet. We are the wealthiest nation in history. We are so large. Ask your mom to just literally look at America. The entire planet, if it had the same density as New York City, could fit into the state of Texas. Okay, the fuck are we talking about? Obviously, we're not going to do that, but like, think about that. The other thing that people don't understand, which is really, really frustrating, is that we need these people. We need them. And I'm not even saying that in like a annoying, out of touch lib ass way where it's like, oh, who's going to do the jobs for no pay? We need these people because otherwise America would also be just as old and running into the same goddamn issues as like a country like Japan is, for example. Every country that suspiciously has incredibly reactionary attitudes towards migrants coming in suspiciously have an incredibly aging population. How does that happen? Without younger people coming in and having children, this country would not have the next labor force. But of course, here, yeah, this is the dumb Biden's wins. Posting this as like a major W. 2 cents before he said immigration is the blood of the nation. Yeah, except it goes against that, doesn't it? His executive order kind of undermines that. I'm confused. The Shah wants to let in illegal immigrants overrun our country. Where's the logic? We can barely support Americans, lol. It isn't anti-immigration to secure borders, you weirdo. Yeah, dude. Stopping asylum seekers from seeking asylum through an executive order. It is insane. The thing is, I don't know where you were 4, 5, 6 years ago, but I'm fairly certain that you were, if you are actually a Democrat, chirping at Donald Trump because he was doing it. That's the problem with pure team sports. You adopted it so quickly. In a way, you are no different than the Republicans who like hated Russia because of communism or whatever, because they're Soviet Russia their entire lives, because they were geared to hate Russia their entire lives, who now love Vladimir Putin because they were in a Telegram group that says Vladimir Putin wants to kill trans people. Like, you changed your mind even faster than the motherfucking Republicans did. 2020, protect asylum, no kids in cages. 2024, protect asylum, no kids in cages. Yeah. Shut down asylum and deport everyone. Shut down asylum and deport everyone, but gay. You are 100% right. I've already seen like 5 congresspeople either saying it's too little too late, or Biden's plan will still allow 1 million immigrants to enter the country. It will never be enough for them and they'll always have an excuse. Biden will never get politicians or Republican voters on his side with this shit. Yeah, it's not about that. It's about showing the voters that like Republicans don't actually care about immigration and they're not really interested about immigration. They just want to use it as a talking point. Now, the issue there, however, is that now you're caring about immigration from the Republican perspective. Like, the argument you're literally presenting here is, hey, guess what? Republicans actually don't want to kill immigrants. We do. Wait a minute. What? You want to kill immigrants? What the fuck's going on? Since when do you want to kill immigrants? I thought you were the not killing immigrants party.
President Biden is in trouble politically. He's polling right up there with fungal infections. Part of the reason for that is that he gave...
He's on Ozempic, 100 P. Kennedy's on Ozempic, I can see it.
For 3 years, we have watched President Biden push on a door that has been clearly marked full. He's mismanaged Congress, COVID, the national debt, the economy, inflation, crime, Afghanistan, Iran, the war in Gaza, the war in Ukraine, and now, of course, the border. And every time, I think the president has hit rock bottom. He has managed to find a shovel and continue to dig.
I told you they were going to say this. I told you. He's going to be like, yeah, he opened the border. He opened the border. He let these criminals in, and now he's recognizing it too. That's why you need to vote for a Republican come election time.
This executive order. And I think that's what the American people see. The first question I would ask President Biden is this. It's a little late, isn't it, Mr. President?
Yeah.
It's
too little, too late. Told you.
Little late. You can't make this cat walk backwards. The president's border policies have allowed 8 million people to come into our country illegally. If you try to come into our country today legally, you are a sucker. All you have to do is present yourself at the southern border. For 3 years, President Biden told us all, there is no crisis at the southern border for reasons clearly stated on the teleprompter. Well, when the American people figured it out, because they may be poorer under President Biden, but they're not stupid, the Biden administration shifted its strategy. So now he has decided to tell you that he has been born again.
Told you. It's a flex. It's literally a flex. Why wouldn't they flex? Let your nuts hang, King. The Democratic Party is straight up saying the Republicans are right. The Republicans are right on immigration. That's it. Where do you get this 8 million number? I think it's like 8 million apprehensions or something across the board, which includes like everyone, including like repeat attempts and things of that nature. I'm not entirely certain on the 8 million number. And it's over multiple years. It's 8 million encounters, yeah. But it is pretty funny because it's like, yeah, dude, if 8 million undocumented immigrants came into the United States and your life did not even remotely change, then isn't that literally further evidence that it doesn't matter? Like, your life did not dramatically change. We did not have like a dramatic increase in crime across the board. We actually had a decrease in crime. So it turns out it's not a bad thing at all. It's a good thing. So you like illegals coming into the country, huh? Yes, dude, I do. Why, you might ask? Why, Hasan, do you like it? Well, because that means more people will watch the 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. And they better not illegally avoid seeing those ads. They better legally avoid seeing those ads by subscribing for $5 or for free with the Twitch Prime.